Hey, hey, hey. What's going on? Did you miss us? It's been a while. It's been a minute. I'm gonna give y'all just a few to be like, is that ain't a replay? No, no, it's live. We live on 5/2/23 at 8:02. Good evening, everybody. We are back, and it is time for another Scoop Show. We have missed you, most definitely, and we are glad to see you guys coming on in on this evening as you get in here. As always, please go ahead and drop your city and state. I know it's been a minute, but ain't nothing changed around these parts. We invite you to go ahead and drop that city and state in the comments. Uh-oh. Whoa. Mute Q. Go ahead and drop your city and state in the comment section for the one time, and let everybody know where you're repping. And that is how we say what's up round here. I'm going to hit boom, boom. Oklahoma City in the house. Going to set the example, be the example for the people. But for those of you who are new here, and for those of you who are like, wait a minute, who are these people? These my people? Yeah, it's us. It's Q Willis and Winfred Burns, and we are live once again, back in rotation for the Scoop Show. Okay. So I know we've been gone, and we know that you might have to get gone sometime throughout tonight's show, and that is a-okay. All right. We completely understand. And for that reason, we have set up quite a few different ways for you to catch that good replay of this wonderful broadcast on this evening. Okay. You can catch us out here on these internet streets all over the place. So go ahead and screenshot this here image and go ahead and throw that one into the group chat. Say they back, y'all. This is if you forgot, here they go. All right. So tell them to go ahead and follow us on YouTube by searching at The Scoop Show, Facebook at Real Scoop Show, on Instagram at The Scoop Radio Show. And for those of you who are out hitting the gym, you on the treadmill, you might be at work, whatever you're doing, driving in your car, go ahead and log in to SoundCloud and follow The Scoop Show at The Scoop Show on SoundCloud for those of you who enjoy an audio experience. Hey, SoundCloud. But yeah, that is how you can catch the replays almost immediately. Okay, you can you can tap in if you gotta pop out, and you can come right back in and let us take you on into the midnight hour. Okay, we can go on and put you to bed with the scoop if you so inclined to do so. All right. And because we've been away, we've got quite a bit. We could be on here for a good long while if we recapped all the things that have taken place over the last few weeks. I actually thought about that. I thought maybe we should do a recap. And I thought, girl, who got time to go back over the last? I'd rather not rehash any of the things that have transpired over the last couple weeks, whether it be headlines or otherwise. I'd rather not. So we just go on and keep it to this here agenda we got right now. We're gonna focus and move forward. We gonna focus on forward. But any other time we have a packed agenda on this evening, and we would fill that agenda with conversations that we've been having on our individual pages. So if you have not followed us, please go ahead and do that. Tap in. I'm Keela Willis on Facebook and Winfred Burns II. So Rika, it's all something about the second. Right, Winfred Burns II. Keela Willis on and Winfred Burns II. Anyway, follow us on our personal pages so you can tap into kind of the pre-show and tap in on our conversations, the posts that we share that are often titled straight out of the inbox. Okay. And if you see the hashtag SITI or this image right here, no, SOTI. See, I done messed it up. I gotta see the visual. SOTI. That is how you know this is a potential scoop conversation. All right. So we want you to go ahead, tap in with us, read what's going on, get comfortable in the comment section and tap in. All right. So the more comments that we get, the hotter the conversation gets. That is what determines what our wonderful, amazing agenda is made out of. Okay. So look for this image right here and tap in with us, and hopefully these comments will be shown on the show, and we get those because you send them to us. Okay. Tag us in, you send them to the inbox, and we will review post and chop it up with the people. All right. So look forward to that image and those hashtags and get on in there with us. Okay. That's it, right? That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was
Yeah.
thinking as I was getting set up, I was like, girl, you ain't looked at an agenda. You don't know what's going on. we gonna get all the way back in the groove, okay? Get all the way back in the groove.
You did well.
How you doing, bro?
I'm good. I am good. Yeah, I can't complain at all. Glad to be back. Um, Glad to be back with these topics. Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
What about
I
you?
appreciated you not having the smoke flying from the back of you from moving so fast to get into this, the rush and hustle and bustle that you usually have. So I appreciate you having a chance to chill for a few before we got going there. That was good to see. So
Yeah. No, I didn't. Not this week. Not next week.
Hey, we taking all the wins we can get. All right, big ones, little ones. Then we might need the fan going. Got you. We gonna keep you lifted in preparation for the next few weeks.
It's always the second and third. Second and third. I'm coming in from a meeting.
Gotcha. Well, we're gonna enjoy this one right here.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. So you good? You say you good?
What's up, bro? Wes. I know, right? We back. Hey. You say what did you ask me?
We were just in talking about our recipes from he given me. I don't know if you saw the picture I put up about what I made for dinner. I made glazed salmon. So Kyle gave me the recipe, so I made that tonight, and he made it too apparently. So I put the picture. He put his picture in my comments on the post. So
Okay, I like to see it. Glazed salmon. I'm gonna have to check that one out. What's going on? I love it because I love me some salmon. I could eat salmon 5 days out of 7, honey.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the chicken of the sea. I don't know what they talk about with tuna. Salmon, you can make it flavored like everything. You glaze that bad boy up, put you a sauce on it. You can blacken it, you can grill it, you can bake it, you can all of the things. They even frying it now. I haven't gone that far, but people are frying. But salmon croquettes are a version of like a pan fried salmon, but that's different. That's different than what they doing. Like what they doing is, that's different. But yeah, I rock with salmon. I'm good with salmon. Good in my book.
Yeah, he did honey garlic. I didn't have the garlic stuff, so I used honey. I used honey and something else. So I did a little different. What's up, KG?
What's up, KG?
I was just tagging you, so save me one step. All right, you ready to get into this?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. So let me look at my agenda to figure out what we're talking about first. Yes. First up tonight. So Netflix special. Yeah, I don't know. You said you didn't. I don't know if you said you didn't see this one. So
I haven't had a chance to watch this one yet.
How to Get Rich. So yeah, if you watched it, I'm interested in your thoughts. Yeah, so let me give you the short version, Q. The short version is he's a financial advisor. He works with couples to kind of help them. First of all, he has his own definition of what the rich life is. So for him, rich life is whatever you want it to be. So if rich life for you is, just not being paycheck to paycheck, that's fine. If it's, what you define it for yourself and for your family, and then he tries to help you get to that. Is the gist of it.
And it's just him? He's the only person teaching, mentoring, instructing? Okay.
Yep. So like on each of the episodes, it's a couple, maybe I think it's like maybe altogether, maybe 6 or 7 families and one mother. She's single mother with a daughter who she works with. And she's, if my memory is correct, like the wealthiest person out of all of them. Like she spends ridiculous amount of money on, like, she's from California, Beverly Hills, like spent trust fund person. So she gets like $25,000 deposits into her account every month, and she spends all of it, and like just yeah. So each family has a different scenario.
This sounds like a similar show that I think Netflix had on where they had different mentors. Each of them was assigned to you remember. Do you remember this one where they had the yeah, okay. But it's just that's why I asked the question if it was just him or if it was
Yeah,
variation.
just
Okay,
him.
cool. Gotcha.
What I liked about this
Mm-hmm.
was the variety of couples and or excuse me, the variety of backgrounds. So you had a black family, you have you have black, you have white, you have some older, you have some younger,
Mm-hmm.
and so you had a young black woman who was just like getting her first place, and she bought a place that was too expensive,
Ooh.
and so he like walked her through how to make the decisions what she should do with that, and so it was just overall, I thought it was really good to watch, to have the conversations.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, to have the conversation of what you really want,
Yeah.
because everybody doesn't want the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
To have the conversations about kind of why you do what you do. The one one black couple, they are like in the journey. He's the one, the husband is the one that calls, but he's the one that can't stop spending money.
He said, "Help me!"
So yeah, so
I ain't gonna make it.
yeah, so Katie said, "How is he trying to help him get rich in spirit?" I mean, really, for him, he would probably say yes, like how to get to the place of where you define within yourself, within your family, what rich is, and it's less about money and you getting to the lifestyle that you want, holistically. So yeah, I just thought it was really good. And I think that couples should look at it, because again, it brings the question of what do you really want out of life? And I know when I talk to couples, that's like the first question second question I ask. Like, what do you want your life to look like? What
Yes.
does success look like for you financially? And then I typically wind up having to like help them negotiate what that looks like together,
Yeah. Yeah.
because usually they have two separate ideas. And he does pretty good job of it. So I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was something that couples should watch. I think that we should. That's hey, Kel, we
It
should
is.
talk. We should talk more about money. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved to see more things. I would love to see more things where couples are talking about this pre-marriage,
Mm-hmm.
because as we know, money is one of the major reasons why people get divorced.
Yeah.
And so if you're having a lot of those conversations before you actually get married, then now all of a sudden you're not figuring out that your spouse is a hoarder and loves to buy shoes. I mean, this man was just buying. They had a whole storage unit full of stuff. And he called himself and then she had her own business, like her own woodworking business. So they're paying like I think it's like $300 some a month for a storage facility with just stuff in it that they're not using. And so they're like, you got to sell this stuff and get rid of this storage, this monthly bill. And guys like, I'm not right. The micro, thank you. Yeah, talking about he bought a microwave.
I knew Kelly had watched this. I was here thinking, I know Kelly has thoughts on this.
Microwave go. He bought this microwave, I think she said, tell me if I'm wrong, Kelly, but I think it was like $30. And they went to like a flea market. He's like, I'm not selling this for no less than 60. I'm like, dude, you paid $30 for it.
And it's been in the storage unit for how long? Like, bro,
just to see the storage unit, you'd have been like, come on now. Really?
People have we have a thing about things. Stuff.
Yeah. See, she said he would take less than 60. I told you. That's what he said. He's like, I will not take less than 60. She was like, what are you doing? And look, and she wasn't that, and look, and so then she would do little stuff like she not little stuff, but she did she went and bought a $1,500 purse. Like She took it back. She wound up taking. She did take it back. But I mean, just
Listen, I just bought my first bag that was more than $30 like 2 years ago. Like the it's unfathomable than the mumble of me to $1,500 for a bag. Like, girl, boo.
right,
Mm-mm.
right.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, so like I said, so he
Yeah,
helped
take
you.
it
I
back, baby.
mean,
She
it was
couldn't even
just
do it in her spirit. She couldn't even get that level of petty to stay stuck in her spirit
no,
line. Let me
she
take this
did.
damn bag
She
back.
did. No, she did. The only reason she took it back was because he had took
Look,
her to like this place. This this co to this co really it was really hard for you to spend more than $30
it
on
was
that.
hard. It was
Really?
really.
Really?
We'll talk about it another time. Yeah, it was not an easy decision.
Did
Because
you have
it's
a
just,
whole moment?
yeah, it just, I don't buy things like that for myself. Big purchases. You see me go back and forth about big purchases that I've like needed. You know what I mean? So to just frivolously go get a bag, and y'all, this was like, I think it was like $160. It was a Coach bag. It was nothing. It was special. I love the bag, but like it wasn't a big
Was
deal.
it the big one? The big one?
My first one, yeah, the big one. I've since then gotten a smaller one because it was too big to take like on day-to-day things. But you know what I mean? It was a nice bag. I love the bag.
It's probably the same I just bought Jamie for my birthday.
You should have sent me you know better than this.
Was
Yeah,
it black?
offline.
The black one?
I don't what?
What color?
No.
Okay,
My
good.
bag was the cranberry bag.
Okay.
It's like a burgundy color. Yeah, this was the one I got for my birthday a couple years ago. But yeah, it's just one of those things that I don't really do for myself all the time. I especially for purses and stuff. That's not shoes and bags. I'm not a typical woman for like wanting to have a bunch of those things. I'll get one good bag and I buy a new one when the strap breaks. Like I'm that girl. You know what I mean? So having a bag to go with every outfit and then the shoe to match, that's not really my jam. So yes, they were very proud of me. It was a
I'm
thing.
proud of you.
It was a thing. Yeah. And I was more convinced when I found out there was like a low-key insurance policy. Then it made sense to me. And then I was more invested because like they'll clean the bags and repair the bags and like you can do the thing. They send me emails. How is the bag? Like there's a relationship. So like I appreciate how they made me feel better about that transaction with all of the extra insurance that they gave.
Do you ever thought about why it's hard for you to do that?
Oh yeah, I totally know why. Yeah, yeah. I know why. It's just it's not something that I'm not used to having a level of disposable income that would allow for that to be okay and something else not suffer. So coming into that older adjusted transit phase has taken the moment for me to really adjust like, okay, you can do that and still like be okay. Like you're all right every once in a while. You know what I mean? Because I know me, I'm not gonna go crazy because like I'm me. You know what I mean? So I can give myself permission to do that, you know, once or twice a year in the way that I'm gonna do it and then not beat myself up about it. And
Yeah.
it's been good.
Yeah. I think that it does. You know, we've talked before about that transition from like poverty mind to scarcity mindset to abundance. That can be very different. And yeah, I think you're right. You do have to do it in a way that is affordable.
Yeah.
But like you said, when you realize a lot of it is just you're just afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a certain I always laugh for myself, like there's a certain dollar amount with my own self that if I have to spend over, like I feel panicky. And it's like, dude, you got it. It's fine, but it's still just like, oh.
Yeah. You sure? You sure you taking everything right now? Like as you waiting in the line, you making sure that everything is good. And then how long do I have? Okay, it's another thing. And like, why are you doing this? Chill out. Like, why are you doing that? You are doing way too much right now. Like, chill out.
Like you're fine. You're okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to talk to myself like I'm okay. We're okay. This was not a bad purchase.
Mm-hmm.
This is not, like, okay, it's shoes. It's okay. You're gonna be like, yeah. So I get it. I do understand, but yeah. So anyway, it was really good.
I'm gonna have to check it out. I have to check it
Kelly
out.
was talking about like the wife had a really good woodworking business that she was trying to grow, and she took, like I said, she took the purse back because he had taken her to get a co-space, like a co-working space, in order for the co-working space, there was he had to pay for it. So a part of her paying for it was, I'll take the money back and use it for this instead of for a purse. So I mean, it was a good decision for her to do for where they were financially. And then like she said, her business started, was taking off. So it wasn't like she wasn't making money. She was making.
If you're good at that, like that's a niche brand that's always in high demand because you can only do so much at one time. So there's always.
She's doing it out the living room with a little bitty house.
Oh wow.
It's right. So she was like, no, that's not gonna work.
No, especially when you got a storage unit full of ish that you're not
nothing
using. Yeah.
So it's good. Again, I think every couple should watch it, if nothing else, to define what your rich life is, looks like. Talk about your spending habits. Talk about why. She made $8,000 in a month for her woodworking business, so she's not making money. So yeah, her, like I said, the young lady who had bought a condo that was too expensive. Condo was too expensive. She can barely afford the HOA, and then they wouldn't fix her hot water. So she's been living in this condo with cold water, and she won't even call the people to tell them that she ain't got no hot water because she'll not pick up for herself. So then you got I said the lady who has a lot of money who's just blowing it. She had a restaurant that she tried to open up. It didn't work in COVID. Come to find out, she thought she was going to spend I think it was like $50,000 on it. And she wound up spending like $250,000.
She don't got no damn self-control. She don't have no discipline in the first place. It's not like she was checking and confirming what she was doing was right and making
right.
That's
she sold her house and made, I think, like $1 million or something off the house, and was about to be reckless with it. So it was just, like I said, it was just good to see that. Like I said, it's not, I think it may be like 6 or 7 episodes, but it's worth the watch to at least have the conversation and put a plan in place, which I think we talked about a couple of weeks ago, how a lot of us are just getting into the space where money is not, where we're not operating in that poverty mindset. And so I think to have conversations, having conversations about money is something we need to do more of, so that way we can handle it the right way.
Agreed. You're so silly, bro.
Lord help KG. Help KG. Help my brother.
Missed you, bro. Missed you.
This is what happens when we take a week off. Huh?
I mean, it do be facts though. It do be facts though.
I didn't say nowhere did I say he was not telling the truth. All right. Let's keep it moving. All right. Man, I wish I had this video. Iyanla. Miss Iyanla and
we can't get it. It wasn't on YouTube.
No, I have the audio.
Okay.
First I have the audio. And I just, right before we got on, I saw her Ebony's response too. So
oh Lord.
Hold on.
Why was there even a need for a response?
Because people in the comments were but
I'm like that was the conversation. That was like 1 minute and 30 seconds. Like, I'm sure she responded during the conversation. People, so go ahead. Press play. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Come on. When some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build. When some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership. Would you date a bus driver? You. If he owns the bus. If he owns the bus, that's a problem. That's a problem.
That's a problem. Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in the society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well. I would date a bus.
I was giggling, y'all, at the pause that Ebony took. She had to tell, I'm talking to you because, like, Ebony was, she ain't talking to me. Well, who date a bus driver? You date. That must be a rhetorical for the people, because the look that came across her face when you sent me this earlier, I giggled. I was like, sis was not here for that. You knew her answer. You should have just went on into your little spiel, Auntie, because you knew she was not here for no bus driver.
She was not for it.
It was all over her. Yeah. So my question, I guess, is you're asking us, do we agree with Iyanla?
So
on our choices
is the question was, are we? Yeah, are the choices? Is the way that women choosing is? What was the question? Is the way that women are choosing men? Is it unfair?
Mm-hmm.
The criteria unfair was the first question. Then the second question was, she had made mention to how we are in society, how men are seen in society. What did she mean by that? I don't know how. I didn't want to assume what she meant. Yeah, I don't even know what she meant. So that was my question. Like, what?
She said both. She said how we are, and she at the end there, she said how both men and women are, and
So let's start with this. So, do you think the criteria is unfair? What is unfair? Yeah.
I think the timing might be somewhat off for how decided sometimes we can be on certain things. Meaning we have gotten the criteria that we discuss a lot of the time is the status, the resources, the money. You've gotten to a certain level of security, your social level of, at a certain level of emotional maturity. You've done a level of work on yourself, so you're at a different place than average. That's the thing that we often talk about when it comes to the criteria and how we're deciding is it okay. I think women took the lead on doing this stuff early, have settled into it in some ways, but I've mentioned on the show before that I think that I think women overall, especially Black women, have somewhat of a warped sense of healed and advanced, compartmentalized, so to speak, because we haven't fully been able to experience it with our counterparts fully, because we're not on equal footing as far as the experience. So I think we're a little ahead of it as far as being so hard-nosed about it. I do think there's nothing wrong with having a standard, though, and keeping yourself available to it if it's something that is available. Because it's not just because it's not the first 5 or 10 people that are within my within my reach doesn't mean that it's something that's not available to me. So I don't think women are crazy for having a set of things that they're would like to who they'd like to partner with. I don't think that's crazy at all. And I think it's kind of, I don't have the word right now, surprisingly, for the conversation that we keep having, similar to this of, we can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, why would you want that? We can't say that yet. They're not there yet. They can't match that. They can't reach that. I think that is more problematic than a woman saying, I'm here. I'll see you here. I'll meet you there. You know what I mean? Or come on through. You know, I think as a man, that would make me more frustrated that everyone would keep saying, you can't do this. You can't reach this. Look, how dare these women think you could be this when everybody else is here. You know what I mean? Like, I would think as a man, that would probably piss me off a bit if people were so comfortable with me being what seems like the unattainable criteria for what's now becoming the standard. Like, that would bother me, I would think.
That's actually very similar to her response, by the way.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's very similar. So let me say that I don't have an issue with women having a criteria.
Mm.
I don't have a problem with men having a criteria.
Right.
I think
Same.
the word that I would use is, I think that the problem is that the issue that I see is that our criteria is limited, and that our criteria is often one-sided. So if I were to, this is strictly speaking as somebody on the outside, like I'm not, I mean, as an outside observer to this, what I see is ladies are looking for men who can be a financial counterpart or equal, who can perform well in terms of leadership, and can we talk about security. So when we look at security, we're talking about not just financial security. We're talking about all of the full spectrum of security that we've talked about. So spiritual security, physical security, provide financial security. And financial security doesn't necessarily mean you pay for all the bills. So that's what I mean when I say that. I flip that, and then I see, and that's it. I see that a lot of times women are just focusing on that aspect of the type of man that they want. And then I flip it and look at men, and men are focusing on the other aspect of it. I want a woman who is, who has a level of emotional intelligence. She controls her emotions, not too emotional. She's, she's able to help take care of, be some of the domestic things, and that's limited too. I feel like that what we're doing is that we're looking at half sides of what we want in a person, because you get a woman who's good at those things that you say, and then you're complaining because she's not helping you pay any bills. You get a man who's got all the money, but then you're upset because now he's not emotionally open and available to you, and he doesn't do anything but wants to work all the time and doesn't want to have. So I just see this incomplete picture where we haven't yet said, yes, what I'm really trying to say as a woman is that I don't want to carry the financial burden in a family. I don't want to have someone who can't match my hustle, who doesn't have high goals and high expectations for themselves that show up in the form of financial compensation as well as other things. Because I think what we both are doing is we're actually hearing the wrong thing. Because when I heard what Ebony is saying, I hear a woman who is saying, I done put in a lot of work, and I want a man who's willing to put in work. And I don't have a problem if he hasn't put in as much work as I have, but you got to be willing to get out there and put in work. And what I hear most men saying is, I want a woman who's going to who's going to give me the same emotional security that I'm giving her, or the emotional safety that I have, or maturity that I have, while at the same time not looking at me to be a piggy bank. So when we hear what she's saying, we hear piggy bank, and when you hear what we're saying, you hear he don't want me to be emotional, and that's not at all. What we're saying. So that's something I think we're not hearing, and we keep articulating these half things of what we want. And I even understood what Iyanla was saying.
I loved what Iyanla said. I found a lot of value in what she had to say. That's why I was like, it might be a little, too soon-ish to be so broad with the, because there are a lot of women who feel exactly like Ebony feels without the status and execution of that. Like, you know what I mean? She can provide what she's asking for. You know what I mean? And from what we can see, from what we see. Yeah. So we're just talking about that. So there's a lot of folks who subscribe to that cannot check that box. So that creates a different barrier when out here in the real world amongst the common folk. You know what I mean? That's where you have to lean a little bit more to what Iyanla is saying. So and that's kind of what I was saying about where women we kind of have a warped sense of, a warped progress point, as far as where we are. And because we haven't really had that much opportunity. We get it in bits and pieces and spurts with different levels of engagement with people, but to have that in consistent relationship environment has not been able to really flourish. So we don't even really know if what we're doing is working fully because we don't really have the opportunity to test it, to experience it with the people that we're really trying to do all the work for. So that's a lot. I also think that's some of the frustration and why women respond the way that they do, because they're like, bruh, you can't be mad that it's not you when how long is it going? You know what I mean? So like, it's
the other, it's interesting. When I talk to my male friends who would be the type of man financially that Ebony is talking about, they are as frustrated with women the same way that she would say about like how she's talking about men. They're frustrated with like, and it's like, are we all like, it's like they're just like, why do you keep picking these women who are who are the opposite of what you say? Like, so it's just always strange to me when I watch, what the men who would fit what she's referring to, who wouldn't want to date her.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't fit what they want, because we don't necessarily want that. Like a lot of the men in that category don't necessarily care about how much money you have. They're caring about what are some of the other things that you are in the relationship, not need something different from somebody who's out there trying to make a bunch of money. So it's very interesting, which is why I think what we're saying is accurate in terms of the limited scope of how we're looking, and maybe we just don't have enough time yet to really say what we actually want, or maybe what we're saying is, this just came to me, that there is such a deficit in our experience in a certain area that we think that if we fix whatever that deficit is, then that's going to bring what we actually want. So if I
just had enough of this, if I just had a little more of that, if it was the same as, is that what you mean? I would be okay. Well, or I would be all right if I had.
If I had some, like, I've dated women who don't have, who don't have a relationship. I'll use myself. I've dated women who don't have a relationship a strong relationship with God. And so if I just get somebody who has a strong relationship with God, then that's gonna get me what I want. When it's like, then when you get one, you're like, ugh, you doing, then I dated one and it was like, oh no, you want to go to church all the time? I don't want. That's not what I meant when I had a strong relationship with God.
Whoa! I just needed a relationship. I didn't need him to be the bestie.
I want to go to conference every weekend. Come on, I'm trying to to the get down too. Like, I don't want that cake. Okay, so maybe trying to have that strong of a, you know what I mean? Like something like we're trying
know
to
him. She just need to know you, Jesus. Holler at you from time to time, like, know a hymn or two, a verse. Can she lead prayer? Can she pray?
Yes, but so I mean, we've had this conversation. I always say that's why how I got to the whole thing of like she got to be able to pray and dance to back that up. Like, you got to be able to do both. If you're gonna be with me, you got to be if you don't know how to back that, and you can't pray.
Hey,
We not
duality
there.
is a thing, okay? Duality
Yeah.
is a thing, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. So that's what I think we're doing. I think we're just overcompensating
Mhm.
for, like, so I think in this instance, because she's probably been with a lot of men who haven't had a certain thing, then now all of a sudden, okay, if he just makes money, I'm
Yeah.
good. Like, because all the other stuff is, is okay, but it's like, no, there's something deeper than that. Yes, you do want somebody who has financial security because you don't want to take care of them, which is understandable,
Mhm.
but not at that level that that we're making it out to seem like that's what we really want.
Yep.
Balance. That's right. Balance.
Balance for sure.
Balance.
Yes.
Hey, it's true.
It is. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, any other thoughts, comments?
No, I think this kind of conversation is one we could continue to have for a good while, because it goes so much. It's not just
That's right, KG. That's it. That's it, KG. Right there. That's
bars.
it. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it, KG.
Make that thing sway. I love it. I love that.
I almost spoke in tongues.
That's a
Right
t-shirt.
there.
That's a t-shirt. Can she pray and make that thing sway? Okay. That's a whole t-shirt. We're gonna have to put that one. Take that down. Jot that down. Scoopisms. Can she pray and make that thing sway? Lord have mercy. But no, for real, this conversation is one that we could have on so many different levels outside of just the financial. It's because now even what, because this conversation doesn't stop. It doesn't, just like you said, checking the boxes doesn't necessarily mean compatibility or longevity is taking place, because there are people within that are matched on all those textbook levels, hit all the bullet points, and on paper they look like, yes, these ding 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 ding, but there's still something missing that's different from just the normal, oh, you're not my person. You know what I mean? There's still a lot that's missing there, and we have to really start to dig into why, even with all the boxes checked, we still have these blockages that are keeping us from really seeing and feeling and being with each other on a different level outside of just what it looks like or what they say it should feel like now. You know what I mean? Because it's yeah, there's a lot of unpacking to do in the realm of this conversation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of expectations that are being put on both sides.
Both sides.
You know,
absolutely.
You know, this rush for femininity and softness, you know, on the cusp of us throwing our bodies as our babies getting, you know what I mean? Like in the rallying and riots and being body chains as people are getting, you know, fighting cops in the midst of all of this. And but soft, but calm down now. Shh. We just needed to be warriors. And now whoa there, calm down now. So you lower your voice, you know. So it's a whole lot that's going on in the expectations that we're setting for each other that are somewhat unrealistic, in my opinion, right now.
And we don't seem to recognize it. Because again, I think
so fast.
I think we want it so badly that we don't recognize that what we're asking for is often, first of all, something we don't know to do. Second, it's something that's a learned skill that you know, first of all, just to recognize my surrounding enough to know, no, this isn't, no, here is where you know, here is where it's safe for me to be soft. Here is where she needs me to step. Okay, like these are learned things that happen, first of all, in life, but they're also things that you learn in the context, in the course of the relationship, because everybody's going to be different. Like everybody's needs are going to be different. Everybody's moments when they need you to step up and be more is going to be different, in times where they need you to not, so they can grow. Like that all comes in the context of you getting to know each other and learning to effectively communicate and learning yourself, learning when you can and can't. And so it's a process. It's a process,
Yes, Lord.
a difficult process
Mhm.
at times, but it's still a process.
Yup. And we need like the other side. This one's one of those partner games. This is a 2-player. And we're a little more specific about the requirements of the players, because there's only so much role playing your homegirls can do. There's only so much, and we're not that good at it. Like when it really comes to execution, we're not men. We can only try and think of what it could be like.
Right.
So, so if we're thinking from that perspective, where heterosexual male female relationship, like what I mean, that conflict is something that difference is something we cannot overcome, no matter how much we want to, how much we empathize, how many men we talk to or engage with. Like until you have the man that you're trying to figure that thing out with, it's
gonna be, you're guessing.
You're
really guessing.
So it's again, are you gonna meet me there? You're just gonna, what are we gonna do? It's kind of where that's at, because you can't really go back. You can't unlearn something that gets you a certain level of reward, and then the only thing that's missing is this. You're banking a lot that this person, after working this hard to attain this level of whatever, now is going to sacrifice all of that just for that, and then be happy in the partner that you want, knowing that that was the move that needed to be made to get there. So I just think that, it sounds harsh to say, and it might be a little cringy to think about, and when you really break it down, but that's the truth. You know what I mean? And that's with anybody who's done any level of work or put in effort or had a grit about a situation, who's overcome some adversity. Like it is somewhat disrespectful. What? Like that's why I think there's so much energy around the idea that you should be okay with head on, but we can't call a thing what it is. And it's like, well, you do understand what you're saying though, right? Like none of them can come up here. Like I ain't nobody. Oh, okay, but I'm tripping. I'm the one that's it's us. All us. We the ones
right.
that got the game messed up. Oh, all right. So I mean, that's kind of what that looks like. What it feels like. So it's a hard sell. I'll say that. More power to the people pushing it. Hard sell.
Yeah. All right, you ready to keep going?
Yeah, let's go. We all back. Right. We on a roll now. Look, I refilled my cup up.
You good to go now. All right, so this one's a very interesting one. So I posed this as a 2-part question.
Oh, yeah.
The first, I posted the question first. Black women, when was the last time you received healthy love from a Black man? And so, of course, to be fair, I then posted the same question. Black men, when was the last time you received healthy love from a Black woman? As you can see, there are a lot of comments on the women, way more comments, which I suspected. But this was very interesting, to say the least. Interesting, not in a good way, either. So let's start there. Let's start with the questions. Black men, Black women, when is the last time you received healthy love? I think I was prepared for women to say, most of the women to say, dad, brother. I was prepared for a lot of those. I didn't do the math, but I would say probably 80%, close to 80% said never. Never? and that was hurtful to read.
Mhm.
And then it hurt because then it made me wonder, like, first of all, it made me wonder, are we considering like friendships a part of this? For some people, and some people did. They said, for
Mhm.
my male friends, um, a lot of people said, I think a lot of people probably are just taking it in the context of romantic relationships.
Mhm.
Um, but it was painful to watch.
Mhm.
It was painful to watch. Out of 100, let's say 120 comments, a good majority of them said never
Mhm. Or there had been a considerable amount of time
or consider about it.
since there's been a good gap. Um,
It was
that was
hard to
that
read.
one in a lifetime thing. Yeah, it was
It was hard
interesting.
to read women who
Mhm.
I know are married say never.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, ouch.
Mhm.
Like, wait, but you got a whole, and I ain't talking about like no 1 year, 2 years.
A
It's a
marriage
couple
marriage,
people
a
on
real
there
one.
who've been on that thing 20, 25 years and said they have never received. I was just like, whew.
Mhm. Mhm.
But then it made it, then
We're
the,
taught to make a lot of concessions
Mhm.
in ways that, um, and again, this is only from a woman's perspective. What we hear often, the list that men have is often much more simplistic, or I guess is a way to put it, as far as their requisites for us when choosing a woman. And when it comes to women, when we don't always get that same list, we're just, we have it now, but it's different. Like, we're taught that they're okay, but he's good at da 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 da. So you can be okay with missing this. And depending upon where you're starting from, what you add and remove from those columns could be very, very different. He pays your bills. It's okay if he smacks you around a little bit because you got a roof. He takes care of everything. It's okay if he has a little thing on the side. You guys have a beautiful life. You know what I mean? So there is a different level of acceptance and concession that women are expected to have, with an understanding for the level of stability, status, covering that comes, or statistically has been what we get when we go into partnership with the man. So as hurtful as it may have been to read it, it didn't really
Didn't surprise me.
surprise me, because healthy is the qualifier in your question. You
Right.
didn't just say, when you feel like, but once we start to have these conversations with our viewership and amongst ourselves, as far as what healthy looks like, because did you see you only had maybe 5-10 responses on what is healthy love? We did
Sure.
not get the same energy. We're
No.
still defining it, but we
Right.
know what we've had
It's
don't
not
feel so healthy.
Right. Doesn't feel
Exactly.
healthy.
Exactly. So that doesn't really shock me for those reasons. We have a totally different list and things that are up for grabs, depending on who you're talking to.
I just like literally, not even before we got on, I said that I want to play this. I want to play this. And I think some of this you said, and I want to start by saying you have said this before, but the way this
Me?
young man, yeah, what he's about to say, you have said some of this pretty much. You said verbatim his thesis statement here before,
Okay.
but listen to how he breaks this down and tell me if this is kind of where you're going in terms of healthy.
Okay.
Or by getting, but I'm 4 years in, I realized that a lot of these men didn't like their wives. After I posted that video, this comment read, "Can you talk more about liking your wife?" So many men seem to generally dislike and seem to be annoyed by women they love but don't like. What I've both seen and learned as I've grown is that men will marry women who serve them even if they don't like them. That's how patriarchy conditions them. For example, if you ask a cis man what he likes about his partner, he'll soon begin listing the ways in which he serves him. You know what I mean? Like, I think society conditions men to not like women. Like, you love them, you feel a sense of duty towards them, you get one and you take care of them because that's what men do, we're taught. And you're hearing your whole life from church, the men in your life, the media, that women talk too much, they don't listen, they're disagreeable, they're emotional. Cis men tend to like other men in non-romantic ways. They like being around their guys and spending time with them. And sometimes these men talk to each other about how much they don't like their wives. But men will marry women who serve them, who are submissive and obedient and who know their place. Because as I've said, in the eyes of patriarchy, there can be no relationship without control. All liking someone is feeling attraction towards them or taking pleasure in them, delighting in them. Like, I like my wife. I like talking to her and being around her. Even if we're not doing stuff together, I feel better knowing that we're occupying the same space. I like her laugh and the way she speaks. Sometimes I just like watching her exist. Something about it fills me up, inspires me, reminds me. Like, she's my person, my favorite person. Seeing her makes me feel happy and safe. Yes, we're people that argue. Sometimes we annoy each other. But because we like each other, it doesn't take long for either of us to begin a resolution. Because who wants to not be talking to someone they actually like for the sake of pride? Thank you for watching, and like and follow for more content. I used to go around and...
Yeah, that's it. Yes. 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 And the fact that we have so much debate about the importance of being liked versus, we call it love, but I call it tolerated at that point. You know what I mean? When a person decides that they don't really want to be tolerated anymore, there's a difference. And understand when a person likes you versus when you're here and we have things that we do together. And yeah, okay, you know, it's cool. You cool, you know, I ain't gonna hurt you or nothing. You know, I don't want nobody else to hurt you or nothing. You know what I mean? But I mean, there is a difference, and you know what that difference feels like. And yes, there are men who, because I know KG he's swiping away over there. I can feel it. I know there are men who are different, who like their wives and are intentional and they do all of the things, and it might not be as cookie cutter as like homeboy said, you know, she's my reason, and you know, I look at her and I'm inspired and all that. Every man's not going to say that, like, fully get that. But we cannot sit here and say that we are we know what's going on in the world. We're paying attention. We can see all of these other examples. We can know what patriarchy is, how it's foundationally set up, and what we know. Like, it doesn't have to be you, but what we know to be true about what's history shown us. There's basis for this. So when women are starting to say this is what we know it is now, and calling the thing what it is, and saying this doesn't feel good, this ain't giving what y'all think is giving, let's do better, you know what I mean? Like that we can't just flat out say no, that doesn't exist, y'all are all talking crazy talk, go somewhere and take a nap, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what it feels like. Y'all go somewhere and have a sip of something and take a nap, you know what I mean? Like, chill out. That ain't even what it is. And it is though.
But let me ask you, I'm not debating whether it does or doesn't happen, because I believe it happens. Here's my question is, how do you know if because there are times, as you know, being in relationships where I felt like this person does not like me. So, and there's a difference between this person doesn't like me versus this person doesn't like what I'm doing or how I'm behaving.
Mhm.
How do we determine that difference in how does a woman determine that difference? Or is it just based, not or is it just based upon like the overall way that you're treated? Is it, because again, I know how it feels to me. To me, it just feels like disgust.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, you're disgusted, like the things that you're not interested, like you're always trying to change me. Like, there's several things I could say, like, okay, when I've been in relationships where I felt like this person don't even like me. Like, they like that I'm a preacher. They like that, you know, I'm popular. They like whatever. They like, so how does as a woman, and I know you can't speak for all, just like I'm not speaking for all, we're not doing that. How do, from even the women that you speak to, what is the thing that you all are seeing that helps you come to that conclusion?
Usually, I think it's more so from a dating perspective. I think what I've learned, it sounds like there is a level of care and attention and intention that a man shows to a woman that he likes, that he's got energy for, that he actually cares more about overall. There's a way that a man moves, the way he looks at you, the way that he talks to you, the tone. There's a way you feel it.
Yeah.
It's energy. You feel it. And then when that shifts or it's different, that's how, like that whole, oh no, girl, he wasn't, please, I was one of many. You know, a woman knows when she's on a lineup, so to speak, because there's not that level of focus that comes into play. I think from a more long-term perspective, you notice when it changes. When in the beginning, when everything was beautiful, and it's different than the honeymoon stage, it's different from the rose-colored glasses, and after you just get comfortable, and there is a level of irritation, a level of rigidity. You're harsher with the words. You know, you don't care as much about the feelings or the emotions. You know, there's a different level of, all right, it's a careless. It's a care, you know, and it's a and that is where.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but those happen in like seasons of like we're into it really bad, and
but when it stays,
right, so that's what I said. So is the difference. This is the overall way that you are treating me, as opposed to we are in an argument right now, and
it's more out of the norm for it to be soft than it is for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That makes perfect sense to me. So then here, okay. So, this, okay. So, no, I know the answer to that question. Never mind. Okay. I was about to do my thing is like, why be with him? Like, but I know the answer to that question.
It takes a while, because you don't always want to believe that that's it. You want to say, well, it's a phase, it's a season, are we going through, you know, maybe we start creating shit, like we start coming up with reasons, you know, all kinds of different reasons why, which is why when it does finally, this thing is just what it is, why it's often that stand on the table and scream like a banshee type moment, like, and we refuse to be gaslit about it. Like, I know this is what this is, and I've got a long list of things that I've been showing, I've been saying, I've been trying, you know what I mean? And this is why we're here. This is not an overnight thing. I ain't just tripping. This is different. And then if the person really does want to adjust and fix it, if it is really a phase that maybe she wasn't complete, you know, the partner wasn't really tuned into, and it is oh damn, okay, maybe I haven't been acting like that, you know, and then there should be a shift that happens if that's the case. But if it's still met with that same, that's how you get to that now, you know. Yeah.
KG said, he says, I will say this: some men don't like their partners; they love their partners. I just happen to love and like my wife, but most importantly, I have a sense of duty to her. Yep. Yeah. Dr. Damon said, people will tell you exactly when they don't like you. The question is, are you willing to accept the truth? Do you like you enough to maintain a life of dignity and self-respect? This goes for men and women. Yep. I think I thought that's a layered, that could be a difficult thing, especially when you're talking marriage and children and long-term. Like I don't want to admit it, because I almost was like, just leave, but no, that's not that. It's not that simple when you start thinking of through everything. So I think I am. I would like for us to come to a better. I don't want to use the word definition, but have a healthier and robust understanding of what healthy love is, because
Yeah.
I think that's what Mike and KG were getting to earlier when they were saying KG had made a comment about what did he say?
Oh, being around black women, saying they don't like they hate black men in the room, and they're like, I'm sitting right here. Is that the one
Well,
you're
he's like,
talking?
I'm doing the things that they're saying,
Mm-hmm.
and they're still saying that they're not. They hate black men. And they're not getting this. And Mike co-signed, and I've seen that too, where it's like what this person is doing, I would consider very. I would think that's very healthy. So I mean, obviously, I'm not in the home or relationship, but like, what are we like? So we could really determine: is this what that is? Like, let's go back to Yala. Is your expectation too much?
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying, like, are you expecting? I'm just pulling something out of thin air, that because he don't pay all your bills and tells you no when you don't want to be, that all of a sudden that's not healthy love. So that's
Yeah.
I know that's a reach, but I'm just using that as an example, because I think that
that's not too far a reach. We done been on some great. You ain't too far.
But I think that
Be on yourself.
I think that by and large, we know that that's like, those are the fringe. Just fringe foolishness. But it's you're right. Fingers crossed. You're right. Fingers crossed.
Maybe it's my algorithm. Maybe it's me.
You're right. But so maybe that's where we need to start.
Because to your point and to KG and Mike's point, like, fully understanding that frustration to be had around being the example, but at the same time, you married as hell, KG. Like, so you aren't in the black men bucket when you overhearing a group of women talk about that. No matter how frustrating that might sound, they're not really talking about you. You're not available to them.
They're talking about men who they could be with.
Yes.
So they're not talking.
Who cares about men that they can't be?
But I'm saying, but if you're talking about healthy love in general, if a person says that, I mean, why would we not? So we should not consider, when a person says, when's the last time you received healthy love? We should not consider other people who you can't be in a relationship with. When
you're asking a person, maybe I'm tripping. Like, I'm thinking when you're talking about the realm of relationships, and you're asking a person, have they experienced healthy love, right? When was the last time they experienced it?
Well, I didn't put it on the original question. There wasn't a realm given. I was just thinking. So I'm thinking in terms of the overall receiving healthy love. Now, if we're talking,
I think where we are socially right now, we all assume relationship.
Yeah.
So,
that's why I said, for the people who didn't say their father, or like, some of them in my mind meant relationships. They were looking.
Yeah, they were even in saying their brothers or those platonic situations, they were excluding romantic relationships. Their first thought was, well, no, romantic is out. Yeah. So my daddy, my brother, my dad, well, who's left? You know what I mean? So when we engage in these conversations, especially in social media, you have to really take the context into play. Mm-hmm. When you're having a single person conversation and you married as hell, they not talking about you. So you getting on there talking about, well, I don't do this and I don't do, like, and no disrespect, KG, this is not what I'm saying that you're doing, but like, this happens, and it derails the entire conversation, because that does not apply. You are not someone who can possibly come in and change this person's perspective. You are unavailable. So their entire perspective and commentary is based on what they've experienced among who should be presented as available. So, like, we ain't talking about you. My daddy ain't available. He's awesome too. I can't go marry his ass either. You know what I mean? So, like, those frustrations are almost ill-placed. That we should redirect that energy to those people who are willing to hear. Oh, thank you, bro. Who could possibly learn from us, who are doing it right, so to speak. But going back and forth with people who you cannot change their mind in their personal life, like, that is a useless waste of energy. They're not talking about us. I can't be mad when men are going in on their experiences with Black women right now. I've had conversations with Black women that have irritated the hell out of me, like, girl, I know why your ass is single. You know what I mean? So, like, I can't sit here and debate with a man who's actively trying to intentionally date a Black woman and say, "Oh man, you tripping? Women don't do." No, yeah, the hell they do. Yeah, they do. I don't even want them like that, and I be out here mad. You know, so I can only imagine what that feels like. So that, but I can't sit here and say, well, I can have an intelligent conversation and da, 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 da. He ain't talking to me. He can't take me out to dinner. You know what I mean? Like, what he gonna do with me? Like, good for him. You know what I mean? Like, what they got to do with me? So I can't really. I can understand it. I can offer a different perspective, but I can't really be the change maker in that person's life. And me arguing with them about their experiences does nothing. You know what I mean? We can't invalidate that, where we could possibly extend something, teach somebody something if we focus. I'm saying, KG, but like that's yes, you did. That's essentially what we hear. Where we're like, not me. Okay, well, yay for your wife. Like, high five, sis. You got you one. With his brotherless ass. Like, you know what I mean? That's like, what do you want him to do? Like, ain't a brother, uncle, cousin, little play cousin, somebody that was brought up on, so came to the Sunday dinners on a regular. Nobody.
Nobody to help me.
Yeah.
I hear you. Yeah. I do. So let me. So then of course I followed up the question by asking, what is healthy love? Like, what is healthy healthy love? And like you said, or I asked, how would you define healthy love? Was the question I asked. It was very, those answers. Those answers were, of course, a lot less. But let me. It was. One said healthy, effective communication, compromise, reciprocity, mutual exchange of expression of love language. One said when they love you when you're unhealthy or when you have an illness. Somebody says open, honest, not forced, and evolving. Somebody said it's like the Supreme Court said about porn. You will know it when you see it. Somebody else said completely open and honest in all things, coming to one another with problems before seeking advice outside the marriage, mutual support as they endeavor to follow God, and honesty. If that dress doesn't look right, tell her. Somebody said getting my way. Somebody else said organic, intentional, reciprocal, and sacrificial, serving of one another's needs in the way they need it. Another person said, makes me feel full in times where I feel there should be more. The kind where we are more to each other than the outside world. The kind where regardless of what others have, we understand what we have. The kind that doesn't hurt. Mm-hmm. And then last one said, oh no, it wasn't the last one. We think of each other. We give to each other. We work out our differences. We give each other together and apart time. We trust each other. We. Alvin says,
"Look, got more answers on this one than I thought. The last time I saw somebody, they must have came on up to this. Okay.
Love given genuinely, valued altruistically, and reciprocated earnestly. You can feel when someone is treating you with your best interest at heart." Our brother Donnell said, when the God in us experiences divine union, servitude to each other in what nourishes and what brings healing and good health. And then last was communication all the time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that came through for us. All right, we might know a little something, little tinge.
Yeah, I think that there was definitely some consistent elements in those. Mm-hmm. Reciprocity was one I heard. Was one I hear. Servant, serving, communication. honesty,
Trust. It's huge.
trust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which all are components to security, in my opinion. Like I think we overall have not been afforded the luxury of a lot of security overall in much of any aspects of our life. Like from the moment we set our ancestors set their foot on this soil or whatever, you know what I mean? Like our entire level of security has always been up for question. And rarely has it been, there's always been a knowing that it might not be you who can really make those decisions one way or the other. So a lot of our foundational desires are based on just make me feel okay. As long as you, in one way or another, can ensure me that you, out of all people, are going to make sure that I'm okay, are going to try your hardest to make sure that I'm okay. I could do what I can do. I'm going to do whatever I can do to also do the same for you. So which is why I think we're so willing to dismiss some of these frou-frou things that we're learning now that we're in a different space and have a little more security that we can control. Again, transitions are hard and sometimes it feels traumatic. This has been traumatic to be a part. This transition for us into this level of success has been somewhat traumatic for what we know and what and who we love. So when we get to this point and we're now looking at what do we need, having the conversations about it and it being so wrapped up in feeling okay, safe, and all of that, it's a hard thing to ask of someone who in a lot of ways may not have ever felt it. So we're having these conversations and asking these things of people where we're really trying to figure it out as we go. So as much as I love where those answers, I was like, we've been watching our YouTubes and we've been reading our books and going to our class, like, look at us, because we're getting the, again, vocabulary. Right. We're learning the terminology that it takes to be able to vocalize what it is that we think we need, what we feel, what we're experiencing. Is this what you mean? Is this? So it sounds like you, how does that make you feel? Right. When this happens, we're learning to ask those questions. We're getting more comfortable with that. So now we can have a more deep conversation about what is this that we're doing here. And I think that's going to help us really, really get a better understanding of what healthy is. We are just now getting healthy as individuals. So being able to define what that looks like as a couple, wait a minute. Too much. Like that's extra credit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still figuring this me thing out. Now you want to do the we. Hold on. Like, and I
think to your point too, I think what Mike was saying was getting at too is I think part of the problem is we are not part of the problem, but part of the learning is now that we're identifying what it is that it feels like to us, we also then have to be the partner to give what it feels like to the other person.
Yes.
And one of the things that you find out about people who were once unhealthy and now are healthy, they're often very resistant to wading into unhealthy spaces of other people because it reminds them of their own unhealth.
It's triggering.
It's triggering, or just like if you were dealing with somebody who had any other type of traumatic experience, like assault or poverty or slavery, then now you asking me to go into a place that I'm not, though I'm healed enough to move forward, am I healed enough to actually affect change in? Mm-hmm. And so I think we've got to give each other a level of grace that as we're going into these places and we're saying what we need, that just like it's difficult for us to be all of these for somebody else, that this other person sitting across from us is probably struggling with some of the same things. So this is why it's necessary to have to communicate, to be able to communicate well enough to say, okay, I'm trying, but right now, but this hurts. And this hurts because, this.
And that needs to be okay.
And
It needs to be okay.
right.
And if your partner does not have the capacity, we've been our newness to this space, and sometimes the imbalance that comes with that has forced a lot of us to overextend ourselves, or be forced out of love to overextend ourselves into these very triggering spaces, in hopes of loving someone enough to get to that place.
Mm-hmm.
It's like asking an addict who is on step 8.5 to run back to the block and start recruiting others to start their step 1.
Yeah.
That's a really
not ready.
They're not ready. And that's a messed up thing to ask a person if you love them to do. Because we're still on a journey. And if you want me to still be here with you, to even be of any use to you along yours, I can't keep going back there, and I can't get beat up for the fact that I can't do this for you, or I might not even be the one to facilitate this with you, and say, you know what, I needed help. So I went and I got some. I got a card. I know some people. And that's how you can start. A lot of the times, I think that's a big frustration, and a lot of what keeps us in this circle in our communities is our apprehension to getting outside assistance when it comes to those types of things. We can heal each other from a community perspective only to a certain point. We're asking a lot of each other right now, and I mean a lot. And a lot of us don't have it. Like, we don't have it. None of us really have it. Our therapists don't have it. You know what I mean? Like, the counselors have counselors. Like, if your therapist better have a therapist, should have a therapist. Like, life is life. It's hard right now. So to be in the midst of someone, y'all started in the same mud. Puddles in different locations, but the same mud. All right. And then to say, help, I need, can you?
Right.
And this is men and women alike. We're all doing it. This is not just, we're all doing it. We have to put our adult undies on and get it together. We're asking a lot.
They say on the flight, what do they say?
Put your mask on first.
If it falls, you got to put your oxygen mask on first before you try to save somebody else. And I think that was my story. I mean, but for people who don't know, that was probably one of the best things I could have ever done was go and say, hey, I can't be nothing for nobody right now.
Yeah.
So let me take some time and be off by myself for a bit and get some help and sit on somebody's couch and get on somebody's church, and let's just meet Jesus therapy, figure this out.
Get this work done. Yeah.
Figure out what we got to do to get back to a healthy place where I could. And then I remember like the first time getting into a relationship and having the question, like, man, can I do this? Can I be this for her? Oh, okay, I can do this. But there was a while, like there was a period where it's like, I don't know. Like, I was really struggling with the idea of, was I strong enough to be this for another person?
Yeah.
Because for so long I didn't. But so I think it's okay to do that. I say that it's okay to do that, and to say, hey, right now I'm not ready. Right now I'm working some stuff out, and thank you, but can't.
Yeah. It's gotta,
because healthy love has to come from healthy people.
Yes. Right.
If you're not healthy,
and that you have to be honest. Health is also honesty.
Yep.
You gotta be, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yep. If you're not healthy, you cannot have a healthy the level of health of your relationship is determined by your own health.
Facts.
So simple.
Yep.
Which is why we should always be consistently trying to improve. Even when we get to a place that we think we would call ourselves healthy, like, you shouldn't never stop doing the work. trying to figure out of improving, of where I could get better, of whether I can learn, where I can learn how to communicate better, where I can learn how to, like, all of that stuff has got to be a part of a consistent, lifelong pursuit.
Yeah, I fully agree. Because if I've learned nothing, it's that you are going to consistently need to adjust and adapt and transition. Like, you can't avoid it if you're living and out here really using this spin, for what it's worth. There's a constant movement that's taking place. And you have to take that personally, as far as being intentional about what you're doing here. But when you decide to partner with someone, I think we also have to take that same level of intention and take it just as personally, when you need to say, okay, because I love you this much, I know that if I'm the one that's responsible for leading this part of your journey, I'm going to cause more harm than good. That's not me being not willing to. I'm here to help in whatever ways that I can within my capacity. And because I love you this much, I know I'm not the one for this. You need someone who's going to know all the things, and we can hold them accountable for your care. You know what I mean? Because I care for you this much. I'm willing to do this with you so that we can get you together. So because that's love. That is I'm not able to do this for you, so I can give this to somebody else so you get what you need. You know what I mean? And I think we're so quick to say, well, you're supposed to be all of my things. No,
I can't.
If I cannot, and I know that because I love you that much and I take my role in your life very, very seriously, I'm not going to muck it up on winging it.
Right.
I'm not winging it about you. Right. You know what I mean? And that's
I think there's a difference between, like, being present versus being that person. Like, if I can't do it, I can still be present with you.
Yes.
But I can't. First of all, I can't do nothing for you, but I can't lead in an area. I can be present while you're doing the work.
I'm honored to be present, but I can't be the facilitator of this part. Yeah. And we often think once we go into partnership, we marry and all of that, we become one with someone, that now all things happen. It's me, you, and God. That's it. Ain't nobody else ever gonna be. If God didn't tell me what to do with it, then I don't know what to do with it. And I'm not trying to, but I think we often do not use the resources that God gives us to save ourselves. And that is a huge disservice. We do need more than that. That's the foundation. But like with any tree, there's roots as they say. There's some branches on that thing. Yeah, there's some roots, but we got some branches and things that allow those roots to grow even deeper and longer and stronger, because they're getting that light and feeding down into the roots. So, you know what I mean? Those are your resources. Those are your help.
That's good.
It's work we got to do together.
That's good.
But it's got to happen together.
Good. That's good. But again, I think healthy love is possible. You just got it. Healthy love is possible. We can definitely get there. I think, again, we just got to be patient, be gracious, keep doing the work.
Oh, yeah, it's not going to be fast.
Keep doing the work. All right. You got anything else? What's your final thoughts?
This was good.
What's your final thoughts for tonight?
Yeah. Yeah, it does not happen fast. My final thoughts. It's good to be back. For sure. I would like, this is one of those, this is May, we're getting ready to hit summer. It's transition phases. Y'all know I'm always into this. I'm the hippie on the crew. So I'm always into this kind of thing. Like, this is just such a transition for us. We've been having some really, really, really good conversations here lately, always, but especially here lately, digging into some different things And there's a lot of transition just happening, a lot of change. And I think there's a lot more understanding being had than we'd like to really realize. It hasn't really all come together. Again, those algorithms, a lot of stuff is moving fast, and we are in agreement on a lot more than I think we know. And it's I see it happening. I'm excited for it happening. But this is where we have to keep pushing. My final thoughts are to really keep pushing, lean in to what is happening right now. These conversations that we're having, the depth that we're going, the level of thought, the willingness to empathize and be still and listen, to switch places. Keep that energy. Continue to do that. That is creating way more space for engagement than we realize, and it is closing space that has created so much frustration for so long. We're getting there. It's hard to see sometimes, but it's possible. Healthy love is possible. We're gonna change some of these nevers around. I see that. It is possible. But we gotta lean in. Now is not the time to say I'm tired and I can't. I'm just rest.
Right.
Take a sip.
Yep.
But lean back in.
Yep.
Get back in.
Absolutely.
We're not done. We're not done.
And you're not done.
Mm-mm.
We're not done. You're not done. Love's not done.
Mm-mm.
So, all right, good show. Thanks, KG. Thank you all to everybody who listened. Mike, good to see you back. Yeah, we got good. Be back next week, probably. That's another thing. Like, I'm just in this season, and we just go with the flow.
And it has been so appreciated. Y'all win has been amazing. But we both at the beginning of this year, when we took that extended winter break, that was something that we did. We were very honest with ourselves about where we knew we were personally and what we needed. We did some self-checks prior to starting Meg, and we said when we need it, we're gonna do, we're gonna take care of ourselves. So we appreciate y'all for showing right back up when y'all saw that we live and got those tags. You showed up. We appreciate you. Tell all your people there. Get us while we come on back. Tune in.
Hit the share button. We'll be back. Like you said, follow us on SoundCloud and YouTube, so you can see if you missed the replays and all that good stuff. So y'all have a good night. We'll be back. We'll be back. We'll be back.
That part. We'll be back.
Y'all
Love y'all.
All right.
Night.